What is up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Epic Gamer, and in today's video we are doing our first top 10 video. And not just any top 10 video, we are doing the top 10 most notorious villains throughout the entire video game universe. So join me on this epic and amazing journey, diving into multiple different worlds throughout the gaming universe and finding out which villains are truly the most iconic, which villains are the most diabolical, evil abominations, and what notorious and evil plans do they have. Are they trying to go after world domination? Are they after ultimate power? Or are they simply just trying to kidnap an innocent princess from two ordinary plumbers? So grab your favorite drink and snack, and let's dive into this. So we're starting this list off at number 10, Dr. Robotnik, or Eggman, whatever name you prefer. Now, Dr. Robotnik is truly a brilliant but twisted-minded man. Of course, his main goal is complete world domination, to where he rules over it as the leader of his new empire. He thinks that everyone is inferior to him and that everyone needs to recognize him. And of course, throughout the games, from the original all the way up till now, Dr. Robotnik is doing everything he can to stop anyone that's prolonging his goal of world domination. Now, the reason that I put him as number 10 is because he is a very well-known and highly deserved to be on this list of being one of the most notorious supervillains in the video game universe, but also in the movie universe. From the new Sonic movies, you actually get a live-action version of Dr. Robotnik, and you can tell by the movies, with his great inventions, his robots, his drones, and how he is hell-bent on crushing anyone that stands in his way by destroying them, or by destroying them mentally, by proving that he is far more intelligent than everyone else, and no one else is on the same level as him. And that's why I think he deserves a spot on here. From the original games all the way up till now, Dr. Robotnik is truly a force to be reckoned with. He can create anything, and of course, anytime he finds something that can give him endless power, he makes it his goal to seek out, find it, and destroy anyone along the way, including Sonic the Hedgehog and his buddies, and of course, anyone else that stands in his way. So that is why Dr. Robotnik is number 10 on my list. Number 9 is going to my boy Shao Kahn. Shao Kahn comes from the Mortal Kombat universe and is very well known, not just from the Mortal Kombat series, but from the gaming world as a whole. He is a very recognizable character, but it's not just that. Shao Kahn is a force to be reckoned with. He's not just a mindless brute. He is actually a very intelligent and battle-hardened warrior. Shao Kahn made his debut in Mortal Kombat 2 as the final boss. And let me tell you, he filled those shoes 100%. He was one of the most hardest bosses that me, as a kid playing Mortal Kombat, I have ever faced off against. He beat the crap out of me. But in the Mortal Kombat universe, they used Shao Kahn as the ruler of Outworld, and his goal was assembling the greatest warriors from Outworld to challenge Earthrealm to basically conquer it all. In a sense, world domination. And let me tell you, it wasn't just that. Shao Kahn was a master of a lot of different things, from magic and from simply being a warrior. And he gave no craps about anybody. He literally did not. He killed mercifully and did not faze him in any way, shape, or form. Now you may ask why Shao Kahn is on my top 10s for being the most notorious bad guys. And that's simple. Because Shao Kahn is no different than all the other bad guys. They have one goal, basically one mission, one purpose. And that is complete and utter power and control to where they can rule over everyone with an iron fist. Now Shao Kahn, the reason that he is one of the most iconic is because he is a very large man, a very loud man, but also, you know, wielding his giant hammer, his very badass armor that he wears, and the fact that when he appears on screen, he makes sure that it is well known. From the Mortal Kombat games, and of course the original movies that don't give it much justice, but he is just like the other bad guys. He is doing everything he can to, of course, rule Outworld, but of course he's trying to take over Earthrealm and every other realm that he possibly can. Means breaking the rules, twisting it, or anything he can so it leans in his favor. Shao Kahn is most definitely a force to be reckoned with, and honestly, he is probably the most well-known villain from the Mortal Kombat universe, at least with my personal opinion. Shang Tsung is a good one, but Shao Kahn takes the number 9 spot. Number 8 is going to a character that I find to be extremely interesting, but also very scary. That is Atriox. Atriox comes from the Halo universe. Now, let's talk a little bit about Atriox so you have a better understanding. Atriox was a brute, and he was part of the Covenant Armada. The Covenant was basically a bunch of different races of aliens that all came together for one purpose, and that was to find holy relics for the Great Journey. Now, Atriox was a brute mercenary that was sent on suicide missions that he was supposed to die. That's right, die for this great journey. But instead, he came back every single time. Even knowing they were suicide missions, he came back. Now, in the process of all of this, he was getting fed up. He was getting very angry that all his brute brethren were dying on these senseless missions. And for what? For something that he did not agree with. He did not agree with this great journey. So, the Covenant was going to execute Atriox. But something happened. He stood up. He fought back. And because of that, other parts of the Covenant decided to join him, and therefore the Banished was born. The Banished is basically all the Covenant that didn't follow orders and didn't stand for this great journey, and he created an army. Not just a little army, I'm talking about the biggest Covenant army of all time. And in the process of all this, he was stealing the Covenant's technology and stealing their weapons, their tanks, their ships, on top of taking humans' weapons and ships and tanks and everything. And he created his own creations, his own war machines. And he set off not just fighting mankind, but also the Covenant. And see, the Covenant was struggling at this time because they were fighting against humankind, but also the Banished. Now, what makes Atriox one of the most notorious and most well-known bad guys is because he wasn't like the other brutes. He was extremely smart, and he was willing to do whatever it takes to make sure that the Banished was taken care of, that his clan, his army was safe. But also, he was not afraid of anyone. Most of the other Covenant were terrified of the Spartans, the ones they called demons, but he was not. And why Atriox is on here for being one of the most well-known bad guys in video games is because he fought against Master Chief. Master Chief was the main character of the Halo universe, and Atriox beat the holy crap out of him. So yes, Atriox deserves this spot, most definitely, for being one of the most notorious and well-known bad guys in the Halo universe. And to be honest, he probably should have ranked up higher, but there are other ones that are more iconic. Number 7 is going to one of the most terrifying villains from a video game I have ever encountered. Now basically this character was created from the manifestation of guilt and punishment from the main character James of the death of his wife. And that is the Executioner, or better known as Pyramid Head. Now, why this character made the list? Why not? He is one of the most terrifying and one of the most recognizable characters from video games, but probably most importantly from the horror aspect of games. He's not just terrifying, he is absolutely badass. And fighting him for the first time in the Silent Hill series wasn't just scary, it was also just very intense. It was just mind-blowing that the fact that you have a 10-foot tall man coming at you with a giant pyramid on his head with a 10-foot long sword that is hell-bent on killing you. So yes, Pyramid Head or Executioner most definitely deserves a spot on any list when it comes to a very iconic and absolutely terrifying villain like this. Let's continue. Now this next character on the list may or may not be known to everyone, but if you grew up like I did, one of the most iconic games that you played back in my day was The Legend of Zelda. If you played it on the original Nintendo, or if you played it on Nintendo 64. To me, the one that stands out the most is The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, and that is where you play a character named Link trying to stop this evil darkness that is spreading across the world of Hyrule. And what is this darkness? What is causing all of these monsters and things to happen in this beautiful world of Hyrule? Well, that is when you're introduced to the bad guy or the villain of The Legend of Zelda, and that is Ganondorf. Ganondorf is one of the most iconic bad guys that I can relate to the most in video game history. Ganondorf is basically a character that is after what every other villain is, and that is ultimate power and world domination. And essentially, you play the role as Link, and Link has a piece of this powerful relic called the Triforce. And of course, Ganondorf also has a piece of this relic, and so does Princess Zelda. So Ganondorf's main goal is to acquire each piece of this Triforce so that he will gain ultimate power, so he can take over the world of Hyrule and of course take over the world. Ganondorf is one of the coolest bad guys in all of video games, in my opinion. But not just that, the fights and the dungeons and just everything in general, Ganondorf stands out probably as one of the most iconic villains of all time. It's not just Ganondorf itself that makes him iconic, it's every dungeon that you have to go into, from all the amazing music and soundtracks that are playing while you're in a battle with Ganondorf. It's also the battles itself, they're very iconic and very well known. You know, he's shooting bolts of lightning at you. You have to shoot them back towards him. You got to hit him with a light arrow. It's just overall an amazing experience. That is what makes him one of the most iconic bad guys of all time. Now this next character may or may not be known to a lot of you, unless you are a fan of the Final Fantasy series. Or maybe you happen to see Advent Children, which is an animated movie about Final Fantasy. Now this next character on the list is probably one of the most iconic and one of the most badass characters that I have ever even seen or played against in a video game. And that is Sephiroth. Sephiroth is not just a character in a game. He's not just the bad guy in the game. He is the game itself, with my opinion. Now, I know when people think about Final Fantasy VII, they think about all the unique boss fights, and of course you have the Emerald weapon and the Ruby weapon. That is all fine and dandy, but when I think of Final Fantasy VII, I think the man, the myth, the legend, the one-winged angel, Sephiroth. You may ask, why is this character so iconic? Well, he was like a lot of the other bad guys, except he had a different agenda. It's not just that he killed Lilith in the game, or the fact that he was hell-bent on destroying Cloud. It was the fact that he wasn't after world domination. He was after the complete and utter destruction of mankind, but also the entire planet. But in a sense, Sephiroth was just misunderstood, and he was very angry because he was not a human. He was created. Kind of like the story of Mewtwo. He didn't understand, so he wanted to destroy everything. But that is why he is one of the most iconic villains of all time. We have reached number 4. Now this character is probably, to be honest, probably the most well-known bad guy across the entire gaming universe, but also people that don't even know anything about gaming can still recognize this character without even a doubt. And that goes to the legendary character Bowser. Bowser is the bad guy in the Mario universe. Bowser is basically after world domination, but most importantly, he just wants Princess Peach all to himself. Now, I'm not really sure why, and nor do I want to know. But Bowser is basically kidnapping the princess, sticking her inside of a dungeon, and waiting for the hero Mario and Luigi to come rescue her. And of course, he is hell-bent on, well, destroying Mario and Luigi, and of course kidnapping the princess and taking over the Mushroom Kingdom. But what makes Bowser iconic? That's just it. It's just Bowser and Mario and Luigi and of course Princess Peach. These characters are probably one of the most well-known video game icons of all time, and of course without Mario there would be no Bowser, and without Bowser there would be no Mario. So therefore he earns the spot of number 4. Now this next character, if you want to call him character or beast or monster, is probably one of the most iconic and well-known characters from the Resident Evil universe. Yes, we are going to be talking about Nemesis. This guy made his debut in Resident Evil 3, and let me tell you, playing this game back on the PlayStation when I was a child and encountering Nemesis for the first time was absolute and pure nightmare fuel. Even after playing the game, this guy gave me nightmares. Not even kidding you. Even knowing the game itself, Resident Evil, terrified me. But the fact that when I'm roaming through the streets of Raccoon City trying to find items or things to do to escape this nightmarish city, I have this behemoth that is running through the streets, hunting me down, trying to eliminate poor Jill Valentine, and of course any other STARS members along the way. Unfortunately for Brad, he fell victim to Nemesis. But what makes Nemesis so iconic? Well, look at Nemesis for a moment and realize he's not just a huge killing machine, but he's absolutely terrifying. He is a huge bullet sponge and he simply will not die. No matter how many times Jill puts him down, he continuously gets back up to complete his mission, and that is to eliminate all STARS members so they cannot escape Raccoon City. And let me tell you, Nemesis isn't just an iconic character to the Resident Evil universe. He is an iconic villain in just overall the video game world itself. Nemesis most definitely deserves the spot on this list of being one of the most iconic and most terrifying and badass villains of all time. Now the next character on this list is probably one of the most well-known characters from a video game, but also recently in the movie. Now, this character isn't just an icon. This character isn't just terrifying. This guy is downright pure evil itself, before and after the fact. And that character is none other than Springtrap. Springtrap is a evil animatronic that comes from the game or movie of Five Nights at Freddy's. Now, even before Springtrap became Springtrap, he was a very evil, twisted man that did horrible things to people. That's all I'm going to say on that, because it is very dark and very creepy. And, well, because of the story, and of course the iconic games, to where you play as a security guard at an abandoned pizzeria, while there are maniac animatronics trying to kill you at all costs, and you are trying to survive your night shift until 6 a.m. and hope and pray that you do. Now, you have other animatronics that are in the Five Nights at Freddy's games, but none of them are more iconic and more terrifying than Springtrap. So what makes Springtrap more iconic than Freddy himself? Even knowing the game is called Five Nights at Freddy's, people do not recognize Freddy as much as they do Springtrap. And I can tell you why. Because Springtrap is the villain of the Five Nights at Freddy's universe. But he's not just any bad guy. He is the bad guy. He is the reason that there are animatronics. He is the reason why all of these horrible things have happened. It's all because of him. See, when he was a human, he did horrible and terrible things to people. And he stuffed their bodies inside these animatronics, and well, they came back to life and possessed these animatronics inside this abandoned pizzeria, and they are hell-bent on killing anything and everyone. But when you're introduced to Springtrap, Springtrap was downright horrifying. From his looks, from the noises, and just overall was a fan favorite. Everybody wants Springtrap. That's what everybody wanted from the movies, and of course he's coming out in Dead by Daylight very soon. It'll be the first time ever you get to play as Springtrap. So yes, Springtrap is most definitely one of the most iconic and honestly one of the darkest and scariest and downright horrifying villains in a video game of all time. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, if you made it this far, I just want to say I greatly appreciate it. And please, if you enjoyed this video, or if you want to criticize my video and tell me what I need to do better, please leave it in the comments. And if you don't mind, please like and subscribe and share my videos around. But anyways, enough of that. Let's dive into number one. Number one is my favorite character from all of video games, but he's also my favorite villain from the Resident Evil universe, but also in the video game world as a whole. And that is Albert Wesker. Albert Wesker is most definitely one of the most iconic characters of all time, but he is the villain. He is the man of Resident Evil. We're talking about no matter how many other bad guys you go up against in the Resident Evil world, Albert Wesker is definitely top tier. He is number one. But it's not just his appearance. It's the fact that he is after complete and utter world domination on a scale like no other. He is trying to basically spread a virus across the world, and only the strong and fittest will survive, like himself. But we don't even know if he's actually human anymore. He is infected with the T virus, and that is what grants him the powers that he has, from super speed to invincibility to superhuman strength. And let me tell you, all of his badass voice lines, that is a superpower by itself. Albert Wesker is an icon. Hands down, he is the icon. He is the villain of the Resident Evil universe. Now, you may agree or you may disagree, but my personal opinion, Albert Wesker is probably one of, if not the best villain of all time in the Resident Evil universe, but even in the gaming world. Albert Wesker is extremely iconic, and everyone that's a Resident Evil fan, or if they're not, they still recognize Albert Wesker. So he is most definitely the greatest villain of all time. I just want to say thank you. Thank you so very much if you sat through this video from start to finish about some of, if not the greatest villains or most iconic villains from the video game universe. It took me a very long time to construct this video from start to finish, and I know it may not be as clean and polished as some people's videos are on YouTube, but I'm still learning, I'm still getting better at it. But for everyone that has subscribed and enjoy my content, please do me a huge favor. Please like and subscribe, share my videos around, and help my channel grow. And please leave a comment down below. What is your favorite villain from a video game? What villain do you feel like is the most iconic to you? What villain do you feel like you can relate to the most? My vote is most definitely going on Albert Wesker as my favorite villain of all time. I hope all of you have a wonderful day, and I'll see all of you in the next one.